Welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you're the kind of person who's always searching for a better, more structured way to understand yourself and the world around you, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking a massive concept from the first Spark system, and honestly, it revolves around a totally mind-bending premise. It's the idea that your birth data isn't just some random trivia. It actually acts exactly like a computer's operating system. Think about it. The exact name on your birth certificate, the date, the location, all of that is literally the base code of the software running your life right now.
Consider this brilliant quote straight from the first Spark source material. Your birth data is an operating system. Most people never read the manual. It hits the nail on the head, right? Whenever you get a new smartphone or laptop, it comes with an OS, iOS, Android, whatever. That OS tells the hardware exactly how to function, what its absolute strengths are, and how it connects to the Wi-Fi. You wouldn't just randomly mash buttons and hope the device works. But well, that's kind of exactly what most of us are doing with our lives. We're walking around running this complex, highly sophisticated software, but we are completely blind to the actual manual.
So, I've got to ask you a question. What if you could actually read your own code? Seriously, imagine the absolute clarity you'd have if you held the exact step-by-step instruction manual for your life's software in your hands. Instead of just totally guessing your way through your career, your relationships, or those massive life transitions, what if you could just peek at the underlying code and understand exactly why your system behaves the way it does? Well, that is the exact problem the Soul Map is designed to solve.
All right, moving right into Section 1, your human operating system, upgrading from generic to specific.
Okay, so if you've ever done the intense journaling or downloaded, all the mindfulness apps and you still feel a bit lost, think about the stark contrast here. On one hand, we've got the generic stuff. You know the drill. It's the sun sign paragraphs in a magazine, or those generic personality quizzes. It's kind of like wearing a one-size-fits-all t-shirt. It's vague, it's frustrating, and honestly, it's pretty useless when you need to make a real high-stakes decision. But on the other hand, that's the Soul Map. This is your custom-tailored suit. It's a proprietary, entirely actionable blueprint generated from your exact birth data. No vague promises here. It shows you the specific pattern your operating system is already running, and it hands you the manual on what to actually do with it.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, Decoding Your Core Identity, the features of your software.
Think of this like checking out the core features of your brand new software release. When developers drop a new app, it has distinct structured features, right? Well, the Soul Map does exactly that. It breaks down the massive, super abstract concept of who you are into 4 highly specific pillars. Let me be clear, this is a highly structured system, not just some vague vibe. Step 1 is identity. That's knowing your actual code, translating things like your life path and soul urge into named archetypes. Step 2 is timing, reading the exact personal year you are currently in. Step 3 is signature, discovering your color codex, which is basically your core frequency mapped out. And finally, Step 4 is continuity, meaning your map isn't just a dead document. It actually provides monthly updates that keep up with your life in real time.
To put that into perspective, let's talk about what this compiled code actually looks like in practice. Take these real examples pulled straight from the Soul Map archive. Nikola Tesla, for example. He wasn't just a really smart guy. His literal code was 1 double pioneer and 11 channel. Then you have David Bowie, whose code was a 3 alchemist. Or Caitlin Puzakulics, the absolute genius creator behind First Spark. She's a 5 catalyst and 11 master illuminator. When you translate that abstract birth data into these specific archetypal codes, it's like a light bulb goes off. You suddenly see the exact operating system that drove these people to do what they did. It takes the abstract and makes it completely concrete.
Moving on to Section 3, timing your life updates. Knowing your personal year.
Okay, so we just talked about the static code of who you are, but what about the dynamic code of when you are? Just like your laptop handles system updates, the Soul Map handles your personal life updates through timing. Think about your phone for a second. It usually downloads those massive clunky updates in the background, right? Usually at night while you're asleep. Imagine if you tried to force a major system update right when you desperately needed your GPS in heavy traffic. The whole thing crashes. Well, life is exactly the same. Understanding your exact personal year energy tells you whether your personal system is currently programmed to build, release, pivot, or just hold steady. It's absolutely crucial for stopping yourself from forcing major life moves in the totally wrong season. So instead of spinning your wheels in 5 different directions, your map hands you one clear next move based on your current cycle.
Up next is Section 4, your permanent quantum signature, the impossible code.
So, if your identity is your software and timing is your system updates, what's the actual hardware? This is where the whole system shifts into something entirely permanent. Enter the literal hardware ID for your soul. A quantum signature is a permanent UUID that's a universally unique identifier. Think of it like a totally unchangeable digital social security number or a unique fingerprint for your software. It takes your numerology, the vibration of your name, and your archetype, and it literally collapses it all into a single, impossible code derived from your exact birth data. And here's the crazy part. It exists absolutely nowhere else in the universe. It is not shared, it is not duplicated, it is uniquely yours, functioning exactly like a permanent MAC address on a piece of physical computer hardware.
The source material actually refers to this as problem erasure, solution mint. Because let's face it, historically, identities get lost and lineages just fade away. But FirstSpark is taking this quantum signature and solidly anchoring it. The first 100 founders actually get the opportunity to mint this UUID on-chain. Now, if you're new to that term, just think of on-chain as a totally indestructible public digital notary book. It provides cryptographic, unchangeable proof that your specific frequency, your specific soul, existed and was witnessed. It's a soul-bound credential that can literally never be deleted. How cool is that?
All right, let's zoom out a bit. Section 5, connecting to the network. Entering the Sparkverse.
So we've got your individual computer, your software, your updates, and your hardware ID. But what actually happens when these individual operating systems finally connect to the local Wi-Fi? Well, when you get your map, you don't just exist in a vacuum. You enter the Sparkverse. This is an entire consciousness network of mapped souls. And hands down, the most fascinating feature being built here is the Family Resonance Index. Think of it as a network layer where you can literally collide two birth signatures together. It generates this interactive soul constellation map. You can see verified bonds like a parent, a sibling, or a partner. You can discover your average resonance with someone, find your strongest links, and even map out DNA-eligible bloodline layers. Basically, you finally get to see exactly where you naturally resonate with others and where the network friction lives.
And this is that network effect in action. Take, for example, this real family constellation pulled from the archive, the Tipple and Wonderly family. We have the father, who's a 6 healer, the mother is an 11 master illuminator, and the daughter is an 8 builder. So instead of 3 people just randomly guessing how to live under the same roof, you have 3 entirely unique maps, 3 unique sets of code reading together in perfect harmony. You can visually see the family dynamic coded right there. It's a total game changer for understanding your closest relationships.
Which brings us to our final section. Section 6, Checkout and Continuity. Acquiring your code.
Now that we've covered exactly what the software does, let's talk about what happens when you decide to finally download your own personal operating manual. For complete transparency, generating this highly personalized blueprint requires a one-time cost of $44. That's it. It is incredibly accessible, especially when you consider the sheer amount of data being compiled and generated just for you, using your exact birth name, date, and location.
But the absolute crucial point here is understanding the immense value of what actually arrives after you check out. Because you're not just getting some static generic PDF that's going to gather dust in your downloads folder. No way. You receive a fully personalized, permanent HTML soul map page. It includes your full decode. We're talking numerology, astrology, Chinese zodiac, and your color codex. But the best part? It's a living page. You get 12 full months of monthly energy updates delivered right to your URL, so you know exactly how your system should be operating month to month. Plus, you get full membership into the Sparkverse network.
So, we've explored the software, the background updates, the hardware ID, and the entire network. The pattern of your life, it is absolutely not random. It's a highly structured system. Now, your map isn't going to make your decisions for you, but it will make the right decisions totally obvious. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to think about. Your code is already written. Are you ready to finally read it? Seriously, just think about how much easier life could be if you just opened the manual. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, everybody. Keep exploring, keep seeking clarity, and I'll see you next time.